Well, it's a surprisingly familiar Dutch side. Dick Advocaat, on his return to managing the national team, has given the old guard one more chance after failing to qualify for the World Cup. So there's a famous five from Barcelona, including Patrick Kluivert, who gave England so much trouble at Tottenham in August. Advocaat recognising his Rangers connections with Fernando Ricksen and Ronald de Boer. And three from the Premiership: Fulham's Edwin van der Sar, Giovanni van Bronckhorst of Arsenal, and the Manchester United goal machine Ruud van Nistelrooy. The door to the World Cup not exactly wide open, but slightly ajar for Wayne Bridge at left back, and two strikers who start tonight, Michael Ricketts and Darius Vassell. But disappointment for a potential fourth debutant. Ledley King, scheduled amongst the substitutes, has pulled out through illness. So room for experimentation certainly, but 7 of this side were in Sven's 11 in Munich in September.
Well, the Dutch is a very similar system to the one that played at White Hart Lane, Martin. Big changes in that. You look at the centre-backs, Reiziger and de Boer, two of the smaller pairing of centre-backs you're likely to find, and Ricketts and Heskey have a huge advantage aerially. I'd like to think that's been noticed. They don't have Zender on the right, but they do have Ronald de Boer, so the pace and power isn't there, but he's got craft. How will he deal with Kluivert? That's the big question mark tonight. One of the centre-backs will surely have to be aware of him coming through, and Van Bommel and Cocu will just back it up from that centre midfield area. England, well, we're still not sure, even as we kick off. Will Heskey play wide left, and will that become a 4, or will it be a 3? I tend to think they might start like that. They might tuck David Beckham and Gerrard and Scholes in nice and tight beside each other, and allow Wayne Bridge to express himself up that left-hand side, which he can do and does do very well at club level. We'll see how the front three work and play it and react.
Darius Vassell has the pace that makes him a potential candidate to understudy Michael Owen. Wayne Bridge, who has started and finished all Southampton's Premiership games for virtually 2 years. The officials come from France, the referee Laurent Duhamel. So it's Holland to kick off. They, like England, back together again after 3 months. It's the start of World Cup year, but only for the visitors. Quite a test for England against the only nation that they have lost to under Sven-Göran Eriksson, and a Dutch team, you have to say, fighting for their own international futures. Fernando Ricksen starting for Holland for the first time. Michael Reiziger in the centre of that defence alongside Frank de Boer. Reiziger's hardly played for Barcelona this season.
I think that's an area of the team where Sven-Göran Eriksson would like to attack Martin, that centre-back partnership, and it looks early on as if it is the tight three in midfield. You see Vassell on the right-hand side, Ricketts central, and Emil Heskey left of him. David Beckham tucked in on the right.
And goes Gerrard. England wearing black armbands out of respect for the loss of Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret last week. English football awash with World Cup fervour. It's just the opposite here, in fact. The Holland players held in very low esteem for not turning their undoubted talent into a place in the finals. Frank de Boer behind Heskey. Gerrard and Scholes almost getting in each other's way. Beckham is there at close order. There's Sol Campbell back with England. He's missed the last 2 internationals through injury. And Bommel, who hit that bullet of a shot past Nigel Martin at White Hart Lane.
And this will be interesting how much they allow the Dutch to keep the ball, Martin. Whether England will try and press them a little higher up the pitch. They totally dominated the game at White Hart Lane, and I think England will want to play better. It'll be interesting to see what their use of the ball is like.
It's a long ball from Reiziger. Cocu had made the forward run from midfield to support Van Nistelrooy. Heskey finding himself on the left there. The ball out of play. Van Nistelrooy, whose goals have been flying for his country as well as for his club. Dick Advocaat with Willem van Hanegem alongside him, a great player, Van Hanegem, from the Dutch side that got to the World Cup final in '74. And now the assistant manager, being plucked from Dutch television, where thoroughly assured that he is the Dutch equivalent of Andy Gray.
Could there be such a thing?
He isn't that bad, poor lad.
The arena not quite full, it has a capacity of around 51,000. The attendance around 42,000.
Well, that was unlucky. The ball in to Ricketts was a good one, and Gerrard has sprung off the back of practice Kluivert there, Mark. And that's what he'll look to try and do. Kluivert, I'm not so sure it'll be that good going the other way. Problem for England will be when he gets the ball going the other way.
Well, it certainly was at Tottenham in August when Holland, particularly in the first half, well, they looked like a side certain to qualify for the World Cup. But one of the Dutch coaching staff said to me after the game, it could be the worst thing that's happened to us because they'll be so overconfident when they go to Dublin. And of course, they missed the boat there. McCarthy's men took the prize along with Portugal, qualifying from a very difficult section. Here's Van Bronckhorst with a cross. Easy pickings for Nigel Martyn, whose club, of course, haven't been doing too well recently. They have not won any of their last 6 games, Leeds United. The goals have been rather flowing in domestic football, past England's goalkeeper tonight. Gerrard. A bit of a follow through there by Frank de Boer. Takes a lot to put Steven Gerrard down on his back.
One of those tackles, it's a very slippy, skiddy surface. The ball gets away from him just here, and it's a lunge. And you can see he catches Gerrard outside of the right ankle. I always think it's a lot better when you see people get a knock, Martin. If it's a twist and a turn, it's always a bit more worrying it.
There was a lecture for Frank de Boer. Ricketts. Bridge. It's given as a goal kick. Wayne Bridge has come through the under-21 setup, where, of course, England beat Holland in a playoff over the 2 games in the autumn. Dick Advocaat had just over 2 years in charge of the Dutch national team, which encompassed the '94 World Cup finals. So a second spell, a man who's still the director of football at Rangers, will continue to do both jobs until the summer of 2003. Gerrard skips away from Van Bommel. Vassell arriving at pace, impressive pace. Shot struck Reisiger.
Well done, he'll enjoyed that. First few minutes of his international career, he's been tracking back down that right-hand side. That's the first chance he's had to go forward.
Scholes. Bridges cross over Vassell. Scholes, this is Heskey. Looking for a free kick on the edge of the area, which wasn't forthcoming. Gary Neville, his 50th cap tonight. And a cross in towards Heskey. Bridge. Now Beckham able to pull the strings more centrally in this system. Gary Neville arrived at pace. And quite a crisp start by England. But Mark Overmars is on the move. A long way forward from Gary Neville, who's still chugging back, but David Beckham had covered at right back. It's the Dutch right back, Rickson, on the charge here. Campbell came across. Heskey, impeded. Daniel Heskey with a spectacular change in fortunes with Liverpool. 5 goals in his last 3 games. After a long barren spell. A bit short by Scholes to Ferdinand, and he in the end needed help from the skipper. Beckham. Ricketts got involved, the first player from Bolton Wanderers to represent England at a senior international for almost 40 years.
Yeah, what a rise it's been, isn't it, this year for him? Quite incredible.
From Vassell, but collected by De Boer. Vassell quickly on the scene again to give Van Bronckhorst a problem. He complained to the referee, but no foul. It's England's throw.
Well, the Dutch like timing the ball. There's no doubt about that. If you give them it, they're all good players. They can all use it. They can all play. Not used to that kind of pressure there.
Another use of the throw by Gary Neville and the positioning of Vassell. He knew he couldn't be offside from the throw. Here's Scholes. Isaac's header away. Neville there again. And a foot from Cocu. Campbell is the only member of this England starting 11 who's actually got a club match at the weekend. So Senior Eriksson hasn't got to think about pleasing the Premiership managers in their restricting time they're playing for England tonight. Because of course it's the FA Cup. Manchester United, Liverpool and Leeds amongst others are all out. Gary De Boer. Now Heskey.
So I mean about the front three, I don't think stick rigidly to positions there. Heskey the one who stayed up the field, Ricketts who filled back on the left hand side. I think just wherever they find themselves, once the play is broken down, you just play back at straight lines. But England have had a pretty decent start to this game. They've used the ball better than the Dutch in the opening 10 minutes of this match.
Bridge. Well, I said at the start about the Dutch having the incentive of playing for their international futures. It's pretty big, but playing for a place in the World Cup is pretty big from England's point of view.
It's a tad bigger, yeah.
Certain that if Heskey will be involved. So for Ricketts and Vassell. Well, Sven Eriksson's been talking about the future. Well, it might be May, but of course it could be after the World Cup finals. But I'd just like to point out to you that back in February of 1966, England gave a debut to a forward called Geoff Hurst, who managed to make up for lost time just a bit later that year. Cocu. Here's Beckham.
That's unlucky again. Now that's promising for England in two cases there. That's Gerrard earlier in the match, got forward ahead of Cocu, Van Bommel and Kluivert, and there David Beckham did exactly the same. Had the ball been better, he'd been going at the back four.
Overmars. Seen very little of Patrick Kluivert, who was such a dominant force in the first half in England in August. Ronald De Boer. Now Van Bommel. Cocu. Get away from Gerrard, and Beckham came out to support his fellow midfield man. Bridge able to plot the flight. The Dutch tried to switch it from left to right through Frank de Boer. Scholes. Beckham able to take it down. Have a look.
Pity, Michael Ricketts. Pity. Again, a great situation. Just anxiety, anxious to get forward. And a tad early.
Van Bommel, the only player based in the Dutch club football in Holland starting 11. He plays for PSV, who will shortly be in UEFA Cup action against Nigel Martin and Leeds United. It's a bit untidy by Ricketts. Free kick given against one of England's three newcomers tonight. Reisiger. Ferdinand was trying to help it back to the goalkeeper, but needed Gary Neville to get involved for England. Van Bronckhorst, well forward, who played so well for Arsenal at Everton on Sunday, in a midfield role for his country. He's invariably the left back. Of course, at his club, the usual England left back is the man, the spot Ashley Cole, one of England's absentees tonight. Clivert in that left back position. Wayne Bridges fitted in confidently and comfortably. Ricketts trying to get away around the outside of Reisiger.
I really do think they can get at this back four. Well, I think you can get the ball into the right areas. When you look at this Dutch side, a lot of talent about. The lads have talked about the studio. We know it's there. You just have to look at the team sheet. You see it. The clubs that these boys play for. And I do think if there's a weaker side to their play, it is at the back when people get at them. I don't think the two centre-backs are as good as the two they faced at White Hart Lane. I think the two that night, Stam and Holland, was it?
Yes.
I think they're far better pairing than the two they're playing against tonight.
Frank de Boer was injured, actually. He probably would have played.
Yeah.
Holland is injured at the moment, and Stam, of course, is suspended for the drugs test in Italy. Dick Advocaat, the little general. Clivert. Ronald de Boer. Pass that went totally awry, but Darius Vassell couldn't cash in on it. Frank de Boer trying to give Overmars something to chase in behind Neville, who got a touch, and it was a close call there with Nigel Martin coming out, the proximity of Overmars, the chance of giving away a corner.
When you got his pace, everything's a half a chance, isn't it?
And he's another one of this Barcelona quintet who's not playing regularly for his club. And Bommel. Although Sven-Göran Eriksson has got a side much changed from the team that played Holland in August, and the Dutch are very similar. I think 8 of the 11. It's England who have begun the brighter. They look more on each other's wavelength, which is a compliment at this stage with 3 new players. Bridge and Ricketts, 2 of them. And Vassell trying to complete what would have been a tremendous triangle there of selection and out on the pitch of play.
One of the things that's disappointed over the last few internationals for England has been the use of the ball. I don't think the coach has been happy with that. One of the things he would have been looking for tonight, not a lot you can take from the game, Martin, in the build-up to the World Cup, but he would have been looking for better use of the ball, better team play, and it started brightly in that, from that part of it.
Wait from Van Nistelrooy, but then the French referee allowing England to get in aggressively to win the ball back. Pass it so well out of defence that time. Clivert. Van Bommel. The rumour mongers here keep telling us that Van Bommel will go to Arsenal next season.
Well, he's bound to go somewhere. He's the only player out there in the Dutch side that's playing in his home league.
He's just signed a long-term contract with PSV as well, but I'm sure it's something that can be sorted out. The move comes from the Premiership.
It's got themselves a bit narrow, the Dutch here. Wide areas. Both De Boer and Mark Overmars went infield. Left no real area wide apart from the full-backs.
And Nistelrooy. Overmars is central. Clivert, nothing on the left, although Overmars trying to get back out there. And Bronckhorst then made his move. Overmars puts it in, and Bridge covering. Van Nistelrooy was behind him, so it was well that he got to the ball. Cocu. Clivert. No great evidence of a cutting edge by the home side at the moment. Very powerful play by Beckham despite the foul on him. Scholes. Gerrard eagerly on the scene. Back for Scholes again. Rickson hesitated. Scholes gets it across. A promising move again from England, and it's not over yet. Bridge.
Decent ball as well. Just a little back in his heels, Michael Ricketts, for the second cross in. Done well in midfield, Gerrard, Scholes and Beckham. Passed it well, used it well. I think he'll be pretty pleased the opening 18 minutes of the match.
Just a sideline statistic really, but England have played 3 away games under Sven-Göran Eriksson and won all 3. All competitive, of course, in the World Cup qualifiers. This is his first away friendly. Bridge. Scholes. They do intend to bring the changes for the second half. Dutch less so. We've got some familiar names to you on the bench tonight, including Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, or Gerald Hasselbank as he's known here. It's a foul by Scholes on Van Bommel. Just a little bit late with the usual Scholes tenacity.
Well, we've waited 19 minutes for it.
Rise again. Well, England flew in yesterday evening. They didn't train here, as is usually the case with an away game, but they looked pretty much at home in the opening 20 minutes. There's Mario Melchiot and Floyd Hasselbank as well. One difference from the Dutch team in England in August, you mentioned him, Andy, Boudewijn Zenden, of course the Chelsea player who's out injured, hurt at White Hart Lane, strangely enough, the ground where he was so impressive playing for his country against Sven-Göran Eriksson's team. Ronald de Boer's a different type of player on the right hand side, and it hasn't quite set the Dutch on fire yet. Rise again. Cocu getting forward from midfield with a probing run. Kluivert, Van Bommel. And now Ronald de Boer more central, where he's been playing recently for Rangers. Overmars. More threatening to England this with Mark Overmars. There was a real slice on it at the end.
Almost turned into a good cross, didn't it? Just slightly behind Ruud van Nistelrooy, but the first real threat. He does like to do this, and he's normally far more competent than that, Mark Overmars, even on his weaker side. But you're right about de Boer on this right hand side. He doesn't like to play wide and have to stay there, Mark. That was an example when he went inside. He hasn't got the threat wide that Zenden has.
But here he is wide now. Yeah, he's a good crosser of the ball, and he wastes no time in hoiking it in, but there's no direct challenge that deep. And Gary Neville able to steer it back, emulating Phil Neal of Liverpool, who won 50 caps exclusively at right back for England, as far as my memory recalls. Gary Neville's played a couple of times in the centre of England's defence under other managers. It's a great landmark, and he turns 27 next week. He stays fit, plenty more caps to come. Gerrard. Look very together, England's midfield trio, Beckham and Scholes and Gerrard. Giving some supply to the 3 ahead of them. And England have got a corner here, and by the persistence of Vassell.
These are important, I think. I think a little bit of attention might have been paid to these. We've already talked about I think the back 4 are all small. I don't know another back 4, Mark.
The goalkeeper's certainly not small.
No, he's not, and he might need to be a little bit more adventurous, a goalkeeper. Supplement the 2 big lads up front with your 2 centre-backs. You've got Gerrard as well if you need him, although he's tucked out.
Sol Campbell coming round the back, but was a pretty easy claim for Fulham's Edwin van der Sar. Neville had stayed back. Just that sort of eventuality.
That's a pity. It was an easy catch for the goalkeeper.
Beckham. Ricketts. Now Vassell. Those goals coming from the opposite flank to Wayne Bridge. And Ricketts gets a header on target. Halfway through the first half.
A little bit of space he found. Maybe more than he had any right to expect, but not an easy chance. Hit the target. That's the main thing. Make the goalkeeper work. Feel a bit happier after his first attempt.
Van Nistelrooy. No, not for Ritson. What is competing with this game for the attention of the Dutch sports fans, the Winter Olympics, the speed skaters from Holland, very much world class. The football team isn't going to the World Cup. England are, and the friendlies to come against Italy and Paraguay in England in March and April respectively, and two games close to the start of the competition itself in the Far East in May.
This is not happening for the Dutch. They're trying to slip into that probing, passing game that they play. England are doing well. The three tight in midfield is helping them, certainly when the defending mark, making it very difficult for the Boer, like he did there, coming forward, trying to find a pass but unable to do so.
Ritson might have got that, but it's Ronald de Boer who finally settled on the ball for Holland. Van Bommel. Ferdinand always backed his ability on the ball, and they came out on top against Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ricketts trying to steer it to Beckham. Frank de Boer coming forward. And Bronkhorst.
This is where England have done well up till now. From this area defensively, they've made it really difficult, the Dutch, to find that kind of pass.
Kluivert very nearly putting Van Nistelrooy through. It comes back to Kluivert. Oh, there's a deflection. That's cruel for England. Very cruel indeed, but it's 1-0 Holland.
Well, just as you're talking about how well they've done defensively, Kluivert gets a little bit of space. It's not even a great ball into him, man, because it's high, and he has to just help it on. And England don't enjoy the best of luck. He's in the area, he's in the space, but the ball's a difficult one. That all he can do is help on, and this is where they don't get any luck. Full marks to Van Nistelrooy, because he wins a header and keeps the ball alive just here. This is an important header. Campbell wants to clear it, Van Nistelrooy keeps it alive, and when you want a bit of luck, you don't get it. Kluivert did.
Well, Kluivert claiming the goal, but it owed a huge amount to the deviation of Sol Campbell. Just under 20 minutes to go to half-time. England have looked the more threatening side, but they are now behind in the Amsterdam arena.
There hasn't even been a worry for England up till that moment. Not a worry. I suppose when you've got world-class players, and I think the Dutch can be entitled to say it, at the top end of the pitch they do have world-class players. You're always likely to create or concede at any time. This is one, that's the header, that's the tussle. It's really important because the ball drops straight to the only Dutch player it could have done.
Well, back in August, David Beckham put a free kick at Old Trafford past Edwin van der Sar.
Much of a wall there, Mark. With Edwin van der Sar just want to get a good look at it. They're trying to get one together, but it's a token gesture, really.
Plenty for the England captain to aim at. Daksar had his left-hand post covered. David Beckham's goal scoring has certainly increased after becoming captain.
I think you're right. I mean, his record up till then, was it the one against
Colombia
in the World Cup '98?
It was won in 37 internationals, and now it's 5 in the last 10. Ricketts was caught offside. Rise again. That's a poor run by Frank de Boer. And when you look for reasons as to why Holland didn't qualify for the World Cup, it's not individual ability, but their teamwork. And according to Louis van Gaal, the departed coach, their attitude.
I think that's always been certainly as long as I can remember, Mark, that's always been a criticism levelled against the Dutch side whenever they've gone to, when they've got to most big tournaments. Things that have let them down have been the internal affairs, the arguments that players have with their manager, with themselves.
England hit back here from a Beckham free kick. Nixon's header collected by Scholes. And it's a touch forward by Campbell. And Mr. Roy stayed upfield, marked tightly by Ferdinand. A miss kick by Beckham. And another miss kick by Beckham. And Overmars to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Bridge comes back, but Holland keep possession, although with some difficulty in the end. Ronald de Boer had to check. Now Philippe Cocu. Van Bronckhorst timed his forward run well. But they were short of numbers in the England penalty area there, were Holland.
Worked the position really well. Run in field from Overmars, took Gary Neville for a moment with him. Allowed Van Bronckhorst in behind.
Did you see the ball bounce up in front of Nigel Martin after what he went through at Middlesbrough? But just slightly affected the control with the foot, that was all, and no alarms. Cocu, Kluivert. Now Van Bommel. Played wide by Ronald de Boer. Rickson with the cross over Ronald de Boer, and behind him Rio Ferdinand got good distance to his defensive header. He didn't play against the Dutch at White Hart Lane. Back by Van Bommel. Dealt with by Ferdinand again. Overmars. And how much has that goal taken the wind out of England's sails? It's visibly lifted the spirits of the Dutch supporters here. Ball by Gerrard, who's played some pretty impressive through passes in the Premiership recently.
Well, this Dutch side doesn't look as if it's one that steps up, plays offside, and look as if they're prepared to defend most things.
Kluivert and Nistelrooy. De Boer back on the right. Van Bommel. Overmars, a little flick to Kluivert. And Bommel again. When they get in the groove, Holland, they certainly make the opposition work with the quality of their passing and looking to put a finish to that particular bout of possession.
He's good. That's another area where Ronald de Boer's very good, Mark. He's a great climber. He might not be the tallest, but he's got great spring. We saw an example of it there. But the header wasn't a good one.
Ricketts. Quick chance to remind you that Michael Ricketts' old club Walsall feature in the first of our two FA Cup ties live on Sky Sports 2, Sky Sports Extra. That's Saturday 11:30, Walsall at home to Fulham. And for you on Sunday afternoon, we start at 3, Chelsea against Preston, again Sky Sports 2, Sky Sports Extra. 8,000 English fans here officially through the England Supporters Club. Hoping that Vassell can get a cross in here, which he does. Reisiger heads away, it's collected by Beckham. Gerrard. Steven Gerrard set up by Heskey. Crisp play by England.
Got class. The only thing lacking was the finish. Surprisingly, when a man is such form, one touch, one touch, one touch. Great football. Crisp, inventive, accurate. Only the shot.
Yes, there were fears for Steven Gerrard. He came off before the end of Ipswich on Saturday. Just limping slightly. It was a touch of cramp, I think, no more. England, if you look at the record, do much better when Gerrard is playing than when these mismatches, in the time that he has been a recognised part of the England squad. Bridge forcing Ronald de Boer wide. De Boer's Rangers colleague. Slipped it through the legs of Gerrard. Cocu, it was a very difficult ball to hit. He thought the shot was deflected. Emphatically thought that, but not given.
I think it was a poor shot. I don't think it was threatening the goal, but it was helping its way past by deflection.
This is Advocat and Hanneken. They look back with affection on the fortune that smiled on them for the opening goal of their reign together at the helm of the Dutch national team. It's the goal by which England trail with just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. Gerrard. There's no offside this time, partly because Heskey put the brakes on initially. Stopped him getting to the ball directly. And Bommel. Gerrard, Scholes, and Heskey. Just a little bit tight between the two of them there. Still the 3 forward for England. Heskey very much one of those. He gets a touch and forces himself in front of Rickson. Backed up by Gerrard. Ricketts. Couldn't get it wide to Gary Neville. Scholes has to head across and impede Mark Overmars. It was an unfortunate mistake by Ricketts. Gary Neville had covered a lot of ground.
When you know they're lucky here, I just don't believe Overmars is turned inside Paul Scholes. He's got acres of grass outside of the little man. He knows he's quicker than him. Let him off here. I think the one thing that people like Ricketts and Vassell will learn tonight, Martin, is the most important thing about a front man is the importance of a great first touch at this level. And when it's up to you, the importance of holding it, keeping it, protecting it means so much more the higher up the ladder you go.
And the higher up the ladder you go, when you lose the ball, the longer it can take to get it back.
Especially against a side like this. And they're not quite at their best.
Reisiger. Michael Reisiger returned with a wry sense of humour. He went up to a Dutch commentator yesterday and said, "Hello, I'm Michael Reisiger. I used to be a footballer. You might remember me." Referring to his absence from the Barcelona team for much of this season. Kluivert. Van Nistelrooy will get that. They look pretty much on the same wavelength, those two, but not on that occasion. Nigel Martin felt the force of Holland in that first half at White Hart Lane. It's been a very different first half here, even though England are trailing again. Gary Neville, who has happier memories, of course, of the 4-1 in Euro '96. It was Holland's score at Wembley that day. Van Bommel. Now Cocu inviting Frank de Boer to come forward. He in turn extends the invitation to Van Bronckhorst. Van Bronckhorst whips it in with the right foot, and de Boer, a little apologetic. He might have read that better.
Just getting ahead of Van Nistelrooy rather than maybe just holding his run a fraction.
The bridge. Neville, of course, has been playing centre-back for Manchester United for the last couple of months or so. Scholes. And here is Gary Neville, not offside. It's a decent cross as well. And Michael Reisiger very close to putting through his own goal.
That's an extraordinary decision for an experienced footballer. What a gamble he takes here. Brilliant ball, great run from Gary Neville, keeps himself onside. There isn't a doubt about that. A sensational ball across goal, but from 2 yards out, whether it's the softest touches with your chest or whatever, I don't care. It's really difficult for your goalkeeper to deal with.
You know, Ferdinand gets to it from Beckham's deep corner. And the throw anticipated by Gerrard. Vassell. Ferdinand. Here's Rixon for Holland. I think he's really got Van Nistelrooy to work with. Overmars has come in from the left-hand side. And Kluivert was now waiting. Cocu. Van Bommel, his sort of range. Not quite this time.
It's a decent effort. Crisply struck. Always rising, that was the thing about this, very early on. Started to go almost as soon as he hit it. Nigel Martin really comfortable with the fact it was clear on the bar. That's a great ball, and that's the touch we're talking about. And even from 2 yards out, even though it's a soft touch, horrible one. I don't think Van der Sar wanted to see that.
Coming off the body, he could have picked it up, the goalkeeper.
I think he tried.
I think so.
I think his intention was, Martin, to get hold of it, but he just spilled it.
Well, it was all too close for comfort for the Dutch, but blatantly not what England needed in terms of presenting an equaliser.
That's an incident, but what I mean, for Michael to learn, when the ball's up to him like that, it's vital that you get hold of it. Too many times it's come off him a bit tonight. He looks at the other end and you see somebody like Kluivert and Van Nistelrooy, how many times it sticks, or once it's up to them, how many times they find another orange shirt.
Sticks with Kluivert there. Cocu. Van Bommel. Patience, the order of the day for the Dutch at the moment. They can be patient. They lead England. Deflected goal to nil. The two Dutch players who contributed most to it. And Nistelrooy and Kluivert trying to combine there. Overmars sneaking in behind Gerrard. De Boer. Beckham. The best ball for Ricketts then, once he turned his back. From a whole range of England substitutes, there's only one out-and-out striker, that's Kevin Phillips of Sunderland, who started the last game against Sweden in November.
Well, he's promised wholesale changes at half-time, the English coach.
Roll de Boer. Now Rickson. Just over 2 minutes plus added time to half-time here in Amsterdam. Vassell caught out by Van Bronckhorst. The player tries to get back. He's given away a free kick.
Yeah, just coming round from the inside. He's a little unlucky. He makes good contact with the ball, but coming in from that angle, you can understand why the referee might well have given the free kick. Certainly within range. But Van Bommel nowhere to be seen. Just right in the middle of the screen there, but away from the free kick.
No, it's going to be a right footer. It's going to be Ronald de Boer. And Bronkhorst is very much a part of the free kick routines with Holland. Oh, and it hit one of his teammates, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
He's given a corner, the referee. No, he's changed his mind. Yeah. He had given a corner. Lovely strike, wasn't it?
The wrath of England descended on the French referee. He's only 33 and is making his way up his side of the football ladder very impressively. As Dick Advocaat and Willem van Hanegem try and shape together the setup that can bring the best out of the Dutch talent.
I know he played very much a 3 when he was coach at Rangers, Martin 3 at the back. I wonder if that's something that will change, or will he stick with the 4? I think although England have played pretty well from, I would say, box to box, used the ball well, passed it better, they haven't quite threatened in the way that you would have liked. Not quite had that cutting edge at the top end of the pitch.
Campbell. Oh, and he's caught by Cocu. Wayne Bridge to the rescue. Now Bridge, who is impressive when he comes forward for Southampton. He's had 2 very good years with his club. And of course, since Gordon Strachan's gone there over the last couple of months, the results have been good this season as well. England's throw, but it looks as though they're going to go in at half-time, a goal down in Amsterdam. We're into stoppage time. It's used his body well. But, Gerrard trying to get it deep, pursued by Vassell, but it was too long for him.
No, that was better for Michael Ricketts. A couple of 2 or 3 times there down this near side, had the ball under pressure, kept it, worked it.
Well, it's half-time here in Holland, and England trail a goal that owed a great deal to a big deflection off Sol Campbell from Patrick Kluivert's shot. But a half in which England have pretty much held their own and at time threatened. A slight change of emphasis from Sven-Göran Eriksson tonight. We'll wait to see whether there are changes in personnel for the second half. At the break here, it's 1-0 to Holland.
Frustrating. Alan Shearer and Ray Wilkins are here. When we come back, we'll get their thoughts on a half that England have lost, but probably don't deserve to be behind.
Scott's coming back on the right-hand side, and I think the 3 midfield players of Scholes, Beckham and Gerrard have been superb. Their passing, their movement, their tracking back, their tackling has been fantastic. And I think we look very solid, and I would have to say a bit unfortunate, Richard, to be a goal down.
Yeah, we're sitting here just saying entirely that really, Alan, when the Dutch go and score in that manner.
Yeah, I don't think either side has really done enough to be leading at half-time, if I'm honest. I think Andy got it right in commentary and said there's been a lot of endeavour and hard work in the middle of the pitch, but from action in the penalty areas, this hasn't been any. I can't remember a goalkeeper really making a save of some note. Slightly fortunate, as I said, Holland to be won up with a deflection.
What happened there? Could Sol Campbell perhaps have done better with the initial ball in?
I think it's difficult because he's travelling back towards his own goal. He's probably got him on the side where he wants him. He's done well to get a touch on it. He's out-muscled, if you like, for the goal. I think it's great centre-forward play from Holland's point of view. As I said, a tad fortunate with a deflection. Perhaps if we'd been picky, then Rio could have been a bit closer to Kluivert when Van Nistelrooy has headed the ball back.
I think Rio Ferdinand should have been a lot more helpful towards Sol. Sol's done very well. Sol's tracked Kluivert back into the box, and they're tussled for the ball. But there's nobody else in the box apart from Kluivert. But the thing that really worried me about the actual shot that Kluivert gets off is the two body positions of the two defenders. Sol Campbell breaks his neck to make a challenge and throws himself at the ball. Rio turns his back on the ball. Now, I'm sure if Rio would have thrown himself in the same manner as Sol, he'd have stopped that.
Andy Gray would fine him. Hates
I'm
that.
sure he would.
Hates that. Has Steven Gerrard been one of England's best players?
I think he's been terrific.
I think he has. I think of the midfield for me, he's been the pick of the bunch on both sides. I think he's dictating the play. He's getting on the ball at every opportunity, and his passing, as you can see there, has been absolutely fantastic.
I think he's brilliant, Richard, I've got to say. It doesn't matter who he plays against now. And I'm sure it comes from also playing with Liverpool in the Champions League and the big European game. That's brilliant midfield play. It's a great ball from David Beckham. A quick early ball into his teammate at Liverpool, Emil Heskey, and he follows it up with a shot that just goes wide.
Fourth of our live games today is Spain against Portugal. David Bobin is in charge.
Well, yes, we're looking forward to an entertaining game between these two great rivals. With me in the studio to enjoy the action, the former Spain and Barcelona defender Albert Ferrer, now playing with Chelsea. Albert, this should be quite a game because these two haven't met for 8 years, but there's great rivalry.
Yeah, I think it's a great rivalry, and I don't expect a defensive game. I think it's going to be quite an open game, unoffensive, and you know they both want to win this game. Even being a friendly game, I don't think they're going to take it as a friendly.
And let's have an unbiased prediction as to how this game is going to go. How do you think?
Well, any result for Spain to win will be great, but I think it will be quite a few goals. I would say 2-2 or 3-2 would be nice.
And maybe Spain to win at 3-2, eh?
I hope so, yeah.
OK, Albert, thank you. That's it. The action gets underway at 8:30 on Sky Sports Extra.
And we'll see that, highlights of that game here later. England trail in Amsterdam by 1-0. Second half is up next. The weekend, Friday night, there's coverage of England's 8th match against the Irish, and on Sky Sports 2 Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock from the Six Nations, it's England against Ireland. Tonight, Holland against England in the Amsterdam Arena. A whole host of changes expected. Alan Shearer's here, so too is Ray Wilkins. We saw England's subs warming up, obviously. Kevin Phillips amongst them, who will come on for Michael Ricketts. I mean, you were talking about Bridges will leave us as well, and Powell will start the second half. You're talking about goalkeepers, Alan, needing a run. If you're making your debut and you've had 45 minutes, surely you're aching for another.
Oh, without doubt, and I feel tad sorry for Nigel Martin, really, because he wants to be out there and he wants to establish himself as the number one. And he's going to be desperately gutted that he's been beaten by a deflected shot, and he'll want to be out there and he'll want to be making saves.
And Ricketts?
Yeah, I think he has to think to himself, well, look where I was a year ago. I'm sure he'll be disappointed to have come off after 45 minutes, but after all, he's played for England, he now has a cap. And as I said, he has to think where he was not so long ago. Certainly didn't let anyone down in the first half.
Is it last chance saloon for Kevin Phillips?
I don't know, it's a difficult one. I don't know what Kevin obviously needs to score a goal with England. He'll be busting a gut to try and do that. I really hope he does that, because up at Sunderland he's been doing really, really well. Again, in a struggling side, he's managed to get a number of goals, not as many as I'm sure he would have liked over the past couple of seasons. But he needs a goal for England, and quick.
you want cheering up, let me just tell you the Germans are losing at home to Israel by 1-0. Let's go back to Amsterdam. Whole host of changes to sort out. Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. Yes, we're trying to do that sorting out for you. Coming on for England, David James in goal, Gareth Southgate, Chris Powell of Charlton, and as you mentioned, Kevin Phillips of Sunderland, Nigel Martin, Sol Campbell going off Wainbridge as well, and Michael Ricketts. So it could look something like this in the second half, Andy.
I would think so, Martin. It looks like for like at the moment. I just wonder if he will change the system, try and get a bit more cutting edge, because the two wide players that when they've played have done an awful lot of work back towards their own goal at times, and maybe that's cost them going the other way.
A couple of changes for Holland that we've spotted as well. Edgar Davids is on, and George Boateng. It looks like a straight swap in midfield for Van Bommel and Cocu.
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate, 45th cap. Another who played against Holland, savoured the delights of Euro 96 and that 4-1 result. But it's 2002 here, and the team under the control of Dick Advocaat and Wim van Hanegem are leading by 1-0. We've had confirmation from Sven-Göran Eriksson himself, Andy, that it's going to stay pretty much along the 4-3-3 lines, at least for the time being. And Kevin Phillips, as Alan Shearer was saying, would love to get off the mark with an international goal. Some players do it straight away, others have to wait a while. And some, of course, never get it. And he wouldn't want to come into that category. And it's Phillips' flick. Scholes reacted to. Powell's first involvement, asked to chase a ball that wasn't really played to his best advantage.
Gave him a little to do, didn't it?
Here is Phillips. Gerrard, who was very sprightly in the first half, in keeping with his current vein of form for Liverpool. Lascelles. That's a fine strike, and it obviously swerved a bit. Van der Sar used the pace on the shot to beat it away.
Well, it's almost a carbon copy when he had first half, only hit the defender on the edge of the box. It didn't quite get through to Van der Sar. This one certainly did. Venom in the strike. Goalkeeper taking no chances, he just beats it away. The free kick here, well, the bread and butter decision that. No attempt from Van Bronckhorst to play the ball.
Well represented in the centre at David Beckham's free kick.
Oh, Heskey gave a free kick, I think, Mark.
Yeah.
Whistle went very early. But he's certainly got the ability to dominate in the air, Emile Heskey. It's a good ball in. It's right where you would want it, right across the 6-yard line. The referee's got a view looking right through this one. He just says Emile lent on a defender.
Just going to add, Andy, he's got the ability to dominate full stop, hasn't he, Emile Heskey, the physical power. Sometimes you just feel he doesn't quite believe in what many others are saying about him. Davids. With a fine track record with the Dutch national team behind him, but still a chance to prove that he's got a future internationally. De Boer. Now Clivert. Lascelles came out. Did well against Van Bronckhorst and again against Frank de Boer. Of course, on the pitch now, Darius Lascelles got a clubmate in George Boateng. Second half substitute for the Dutch. He's just fitted in centre of that midfield alongside Davids, the right footer and the left footer, and plenty of others here hoping to get a game. Joe Cole for one, and that looked like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, correct, didn't it? Maybe James might not want to see him come on. He's been scoring goals past James on a regular basis already this year. Chelsea against West Ham. Roy Mackay there. And Mario Melchiot. Overmars given time to shoot, and it spirals away off Rio Ferdinand behind for a corner to Holland.
Yeah, just got there in time, Rio, and this was making the run in behind. That was ignored.
Frank de Boer, you mentioned Ronald de Boer's spring in the first half. It's a family trait.
He's trying to get a clutch of players in there. De Boer, he wants Boateng to come in alongside him. And then Cliver. Just spring from there.
And move away. David James was nowhere near dominated. He'd started to come. And the Selling that has pulled everyone back. The clearance reined in easily by Reisiger. Now Davids. De Boer making space for his cross. Southgate. And a fine defensive header that will help him feel that he's adjusting to proceedings in the early minutes of his game tonight. Second cap for George Boateng, played in Holland's last game in November, a friendly in Denmark. Vassell, first cap for him. He's got the better of Van Bronckhorst. Scholes. Challenged well by Boateng. That was Beckham trying to tuck a pass to either Phillips or Heskey. I do enjoy from England in midfield in the first half, but a shot from Gerrard, almost an own goal by Reisiger, not too much to really threaten it. Here's Heskey. That's quite a good free kick.
But they've been really bright at the beginning of this second half. 5 really good minutes they've had. The pace of their game's up to little. The threat's been there, lovely little step over here, and Heskey's away. This touch coming up just defeats Reisiger, doesn't know, he's a little slow with the tackle. Nowhere near the ball. Great situation this.
I don't think we're looking through red, white, blue spectacles here to say that England really do deserve to be level in this game, but they're not. Here's a chance to produce parity though. Gary Neville doing the pointing, Heskey on the end of the wall, Dick Advocat doing the worrying maybe, because the favourite here to take it of course is David Beckham, and Van der Sar fists it away, back by Powell and not far away.
That was a great effort from Powell, but I wonder had he time, pull it down, pick someone out. That's Beckham's favourite from this side, is to go across the wall almost and into the far corner, hoping that the goalkeeper edges behind the wall. That's what he's aiming for. He's aiming for Heskey. That's why he's put there. But Van der Sar, he's playing in the Premiership. We know all about that, I would guess.
Boateng. Scholes took it from him, and then Davids helped out his fellow midfield man. It's a pretty controversial character, Davids. Sent home from Euro 96. Even in training here last night, he went into a tackle with Cocu that had all the Dutch players saying, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And Davids just shrugged. Cocu limped away. A potential incident involving Edgar Davids. Usually laxed by Beckham.
I think that little graph, that little stat just shows how unfortunate England are to be down. The only shot that the Dutch have on target, Martin, is the goal. It's not like them at home.
That was only just on target,
yeah.
Really, wasn't it? Gerrard's ball. Drop for Phillips, no. Ferdinand. Gerrard. Go left. Rio Ferdinand here to Chris Powell. He's winning his 5th cap, increasing his record as Charlton's most capped English player of all time. Rickson. Southgate was very anxious to get to Clivert there. get there fairly enough.
Quite happy to give a free kick away though when you come out as far as that from the line of your back four to meet Cliver. You make sure that the ball and him don't get past you.
Over Mars. Dick Advocaat has been saying in the build-up to this game he intends to use less substitutes than England. In fact, he was a bit annoyed that Louis van Gaal, his predecessor, had allowed England the license to use as many as 11 substitutes. They didn't bring that many players with them in the end. Here's Heskey, the number 11, caught offside. Right on the line, but moving at the pace that he does, always likely to attract the eye of the official. The assistant put the flag up. Southgate. England have got 4 forward. Scholes. 4 is still forward. In fact, Gary Neville trying to make a 5th. He had that tremendous break in the first half that almost caught out Reisiger with the cross. Powell. Southgate. And England come from behind here in the Amsterdam Arena, where Holland have a pretty good record. Their only defeat, that one on penalties in the semi-final of Euro 2000 to Italy. Heskey imposing himself on the game again.
There's another striking goal. His from distance. I'd like to see them get a little closer, but it's a decent effort, never really troubling Van der Sar. They're dominating possession at the moment, England. They're playing well, they're popping the ball about, they're getting men forward.
David James has lasted a lot longer in goal in this game than he did when he played against Holland at White Hart Lane, less than a minute before he was injured in a collision with Martin Keown.
That's good possession from England, you can see that.
Vassell. Oh, and it's Phillips, and it's Beckham, and Van der Sar got in the way, but England get closer and closer to an equaliser. Oh, but there's a mistake here by Ferdinand. They must keep the back door firmly shut as they try to improve at the front.
Oh, it's big, brave goalkeeping from Edwin van der Sar. Good reactions from Phillips. Doesn't quite get anything on it, but look how quickly the big goalkeeper's up and spreads himself. It's really good goalkeeping. See it again, it's helped on by David Beckham. He keeps going, he just follows it in. Comes back, he has to hit it first time. Doesn't get the luck. Didn't quite hit it as clean as he would have liked.
Ricks. Just drifting behind Van Nistelrooy to get into space where he can be found. Kindly done by Southgate. He's been a dependable alternative at the back for several England head coaches now. Scholes. Powell's outside him, but he looks instead to Gerrard, and seeing it coming was Michael Reisiger. Here's Ronald de Boer. And Boateng, and a bit short of numbers here.
Oh, what a chance he had there, just to drop it straight left to Davids, who then could have played over Miles or Van Nistelrooy in. Step over was an extravagant one. I think you and I could have got down and intercepted the ball after that.
I was talking to George Boateng yesterday, and he was telling me that he feels that he can do more on the ball than he's shown in the Premiership, where he's often played on sides that Coventry was struggling, and Villa, John Gregory wanted a real amount of discipline from his play. So remember that goal I scored this season on a Monday night at Southampton? That's what I'm more about, and he was trying to show the international audience then. This is Victor Sikora. They call him the new Mark Overmars. He's going to come on not in place of the original model, but in place of Ronald de Boer, so maybe a more natural wide right wing type player as one of the twins departs. Sikora plays for Vitesse of Arnhem.
He hobbled off De Boer, so I'm assuming it was a forced substitution.
And Bronkhorst, and you don't have to give Van Nistelrooy very much for him to try and fashion an effort towards goal.
Well, it's a good, decent ball in. The thing I like about Van Nistelrooy, Mark, even if he's in a quiet game, you could never take your eye off him for a minute if you're a defender. He never gives up, never gives in, never thinks he isn't going to score.
27 goals for Manchester United this season, for Holland as well. Pretty healthy return for mid-February. There he is, strengthening his touch as well, not just a goal scorer.
Even looks like Overmars, that's the corner on the ball there, doesn't he?
Phillips. Beckham. And Heskey will get to this one. Just forced away from the immediate danger area by Reisiger. Crossed by Gerrard all the way to Darius Vassell. Phillips waiting in the centre. And Vassell carve out a chance for Phillips! Very nearly. Header might have been dropping over, but Van der Sar was taking no chances.
Lovely ball in from Darius Vassell. Just his speed that takes him past Rickson. I just wondered about, is he up a little early? Wasn't ever threatening the header.
Beckham. Surely England have got an equaliser in them. They have! And it is Darius Vassell! And he's deserved that. He's been bright and perky right from the off on his international debut.
Well, England have been a totally different side second half. They've been at it, they've been bright, they've been quicker, the tempo's been higher. And this is just brilliant delivery. Fantastic finish. It was take your pick almost in the middle of that goal. Who wanted it? You can't give this man that much room to cross it. They're looking for offside here. It's borderline, but it's allowed to go. If Vassell doesn't get it, Scholes does. Neither of them don't get it. I think Gerrard's coming in behind them as well. It's Phillips, so any one of three could have finished it off. Dream debut it's turning out to be.
Well, that was a spectacular finish and a goal that had justice stamped all over it to bring England level. Clivert. There's Sikora. He's only started just over 30 games for Aston Villa, Darius Vassell, invariably used from the bench. But he's got that quality that Sven-Göran Eriksson admires in players all over the team, and that is pace. And the pace that takes him into the right sort of area, off the ball as well as his pace running with it.
Well, good finishing ability as well. There's the injury to Ronald de Boer, the treatment on the foot. But well worth the goal. The lads in the studio talked at neither side. They felt deserved to be leading at half-time. I felt the same. Well, it was pretty much stalemate as far as goal chances were, but there's absolutely no doubt that England have deserved the equaliser. I don't think the substitutions of the two central midfield area players for Holland have helped. I don't think Davids and Boateng have enhanced or made Dick Advocaat's side a better one. They're ready to make another change.
Here's Powell. Now Phillips. Scholes. Steven Gerrard's standards with passing. Clivert again finding space in behind England's midfield, in front of England's line of four defenders. Sikora. Oh, Southgate slipped. It's a dangerous thing to do with Van Nistelrooy around, but Rio Ferdinand was very much concentrating. Here's Rickson. Back for Frank de Boer. Feeded into the feet of Van Nistelrooy. Scholes pass.
Just off. Flag went up early, he was. Well, it's Chippy's playing Hasselbank, you can see there. They're giving a call from Dick Advocaat. Will it be Van Nistelrooy off or up with him? That's the one question, I think, that remains to be answered.
Van Nistelrooy and Hasselbank joint leading scorers along with Thierry Henry in the Premiership. Could be a dream ticket together for the Dutch, but it's the number 9 board that's off.
Yeah.
There's never one looking to depart Ruud van Nistelrooy. He comes from the Alan Shearer school of wanting to play every minute of every game.
Nothing wrong with that.
I say the same about the man they know here as Gerald Hasselbank. Never really done it in Dutch football, and he's not getting the warmest of receptions. He had to go first to Portugal to establish a career, really, before making his name in England and Spain as well, of course.
Well, they'll be straight out in fancy this, I can tell you that much about.
Shakir take it quickly against David James. Be telling the referee to get out of the way.
Not so sure what they're like in France about that. No.
I don't think he's adopted the Graham Poll position yet,
No,
the referee here. A little bit nearer to it now, quite masking David James's view. The referee was saying, wait for my whistle. David James is more correctly positioned than he was at Upton Park in that FA Cup replay.
Jimmy's trying to get it right.
Stood.
Trying to get 2 on the end of the wall. He's just moved Watang in alongside Kluivert.
Here's Hasselbank into the wall. He's got the better of Gary Neville though, the Chelsea man. And off Ferdinand's head. Ooh, and there's a hand off by Davids. Simply all apology, and it's not often you see that from Edgar Davids. Pushed Heskey away. Hasselbank trying to make an immediate impact. Minutes gone in the second half. Profitable second half for England. They've equalised. A great night for Darius Vassell. He would have got to play Vassell if Michael Owen had reported fit. Boateng. Davids. It's away from Beckham. Packed it infield of Ferdinand. Kluivert took it on the burst. England got numbers around him though, and they needed to badly.
Southgate did ever so well. Gareth Southgate. He was so important. Last man, he just delayed him enough to let Rio Ferdinand in and round and back in behind him.
Boateng. Now Reisiger. Back to Boer. Hasselbank, Davids taking over. Heskey trying to work with him. Kluivert. A bit tight for the Dutch. There's no flag, and there's a chase here for Sikora, but he was just beaten to it by Ferdinand. That must have been close, but must have been. The flag did stay down. Patrick Power, Feyenoord, was a midfield player, but this season has been playing successfully for his club as a back 4-man, so may well be a defender that he replaces. Meanwhile, let's concentrate on this corner for Holland. Shoving Frank de Boer and Gareth Southgate. Came off Beckham. Extra touch added by Vassell. It's Frank de Boer who's coming off, so Power will go in to play alongside Reisiger. Now back passes to Davids. Interesting one, Power, because he was at PSV under Dick Advocaat, who released him. Well, times have changed. He's going to send him on as an international for the 4th time for Holland. Oh, de Boer definitely injured. Frank de Boer definitely dismayed by the change. Less than impressed, should we see, as he came on. Beckham. Gerrard. It's a bit of a dilemma here, Sven-Göran Eriksson, who had talked about giving everyone a game for England, but this is very much at the heart of the contest. He'd love to turn around the result in England between these two in August. This group of players who are out there at the moment are certainly performing well enough. Vassell. Beckham. Scores have gone wide to the left. Boateng trying to get away with the ball again. Born in Ghana, George Boateng, but grew up here in Holland. Ricks. 20 minutes to go. Holland 1, England 1.
Just as it arrived up.
They had to relay the pitch the latest time, Andy, was because they had a big party here for that recent Dutch royal wedding. Messed up the surface. We were saying earlier, we think it's something around pitch number 30. Just over 5 years.
Played all right tonight. Played all right tonight, the pitch. The odd little bob
What they do for a couple of weeks or so. Gerrard. No offside here. The ball was just a bit too straight for Vassell. Boateng saying, I'll have it to Davids. Kluivert. Slots for Hasselbank.
That time the deflection did help. The ball was on its way to Hasselbank, but just deflected off Gareth Southgate into the goalkeeper's arms.
Strapping on Frank de Boer's knee. All the tickets, of course, priced here in Holland now and in many European countries in euros. Gilder has gone. Everyone I've spoken to about it points out that prices have been rounded upwards and not downwards.
Surprised that, isn't it?
Beckham. Now Ferdinand. Somewhat muted the home support here. Might be one of the reasons, might be that there's no Ajax players involved in this squad. Despite a very strange situation in Dutch football that Ajax first team and Ajax second team are both in the semi-finals of the Dutch Cup. They're not playing each other, but they could meet in the final. Beckham. This is George Boateng. Rickson. It's been on since the start. It's the case with all the players out there at the moment. The substitutes, Davids. Kluivert.
Just a bit of lack of playing. Patrick Kluivert there showed. Kluivert looking just to play the 1-2, and Jimmy looking for the ball played straight through to him.
He's lucky to get the ball there from his goalkeeper, who scuffed his kick. And ball by Mark Overmars.
Yeah, he just comes across the back four here. Referee judges it's handball. Oh, I'm not so sure it was.
Beckham. Gary Neville with the cross, aiming it at Phillips. Quite strong enough. Ferdinand. Powell, of course, was the surprise member of Sven Göran Eriksson's first England squad. Only a year ago. So much has happened to the coach and the team since then. Most of it good. And even a draw tonight here in Amsterdam will be seen as a good result. And emphasised to you throughout the need for the Dutch players to impress their new head coach. After a free kick.
Lovely run from Vassell. Patient play at the back from England, kept it, doing to the Dutch what the Dutch like to do to the other teams. Waited for Vassell to spring wide, and well, in the back of his international debut goal. You expect him to be even brighter now.
15 minutes left. England forge their way in front. There's the net ruffling from the outside from Gareth Southgate.
Goalkeeper's furious, look at him. Might be a friendly, but goalkeepers don't like conceding goals. They just shut off here, the Dutch. Ball's played in there, huge gap, he wanders in, totally unmarked, Gareth Southgate. Just fractions away from giving England the lead. A lead they probably deserved, you know, overall. But there's about to be a mass substitution, Mark, so the game just might change in the England.
Comfortably dealt with by Powell. Yes, Joe Cole's got the tracksuit top off, Frank Lampard as well.
They keep up. Phil Neville, yeah. Certainly 4 changes.
Phillips. Yes, apart from changing the goalkeeper to a third keeper of the night, that's all England have got left this 4. For Joe Cole, a second cap. Substitute against Mexico back in May at Pride Park. Neville, of course, has been on the scene a long time. Supervising there, Steve McLaren, the Middlesbrough manager, whose thoughts will be turning to the FA Cup as soon as international duty is finished. Scholes off, Gerrard off. It's going to be one Neville for the other. I would think it's a clear chance. Darius Vassell comes off. Can be very, very pleased with his first taste of full international football with England. It is handshake between the brothers as we look at Joe Cole. The end of Gary Neville's 50th England appearance. Kluivert. Lampard trying to block the pass forward to Sakura, but Lateng found him. Davids. Here's Power. Over Mars. With a fresh right back to deal with. Phillips filling in an area of the pitch as well. Heskey. Turned rather into trouble. Sakura. Watting. He's got to wait for Rickson. On course. Southgate possibly could have had a call then from David James to asking the question. He's asking the question exactly what he's saying to his goalkeeper. A little bit of help there. David James has so little to do in this game. You and I could have played the ball up till now. Good change here by Power running into the pack of players in white shirts, and then when it comes to kicking for David James, who after all is no stranger to Gareth Southgate. And their time together at Aston Villa. This is not their club now, not for either player. Clivert. To get it back off Hasselbank, Sakura.
Oh, nice and tight there. Good defending.
On the subject of these substitutions, Sven-Göran Eriksson's argument is, I need to know if they can do it out there if I get injuries, which suggests, as many people think, he's got a good section of his World Cup squad pretty much identified in his mind.
I think the majority's there already, Mark. I don't expect to see too many surprises when that squad's announced near the time.
Mickey Butt was one of those who was cut from Glenn Hoddle's thinking late on, as Philip Neville was in '98. They missed out then. They'll be hoping that they're on the list this time. Lampard. Joe Cole is very much a central midfield player these days with his club West Ham. All said about him that maybe he hadn't got a position, that a wonderful manipulator of the football that he is. You talk to Joe and he'll tell you that that's the one that he wants. The midfield pair of Davids and Boateng, the ones that they've got to curb at the moment, although Joe Cole in this formation looks as though he's a bit further left, Andy.
Yeah, he's actually taken over from what Marcel has done, has played wide, because both Phillips now and Cole are the two flank strikers at the moment. Emil Heskey's up the middle.
Certainly gives you a bank of 5 in midfield when you lose the ball.
Yeah, and just off here, just went round the wrong side of the defender, Jimmy. Went goal side instead of the other way.
Gerald
here, you're right, mate. Said to you, who's that? When they come up, Gerald Hasselbank.
Inside the final 10 minutes. 1-1 here in Amsterdam. Philip Neville. Beaten in the end by the bounce. Heskey covered the ground quickly to turn that into a possible pass. Power. Reisiger. Clivert still finding space, although England look well grouped in that department. Reactivate Holland here. Sikura's cost. Clivert's header, and there is a save for David James to make from Patrick Clivert.
Well, I think 83 minutes into the match, that's the first time David James has made a save. I'll be quite happy about that, but on the other hand, I think when you hear the England coach interviewed prior to the match, Martin, he says, well, he's not quite sure if there is a number one at the moment. Somebody that he could call his top goalkeeper. And it's probably David would love a little bit of pressure and a few shots to save to show that he might be the man.
Well, so much depends on what football David Seaman can get. He was on the bench at Everton on Sunday. I would have thought that's Arsene Wenger's call, as he might be a candidate to play in the FA Cup. Got a game against Gillingham on Saturday. Power. Van Bronckhorst. Don't want to let it slip here. Holland waiting to make another change. Roy Mackay of Spanish club Deportivo La Coruña is going to get a little piece of the action. It's judged by Power. Reisiger was reliable again there to deny Phillips the sight of a potential match winner here. Cole.
Well, this has been a much better performance from England since, probably the best since Germany, without a doubt.
Heskey. Yes, Sven-Göran Eriksson won his first 5 matches, only won 2 of the next 5, as they were important wins in the World Cup in Germany and against Albania at St James's Park. And it's a pretty good answer to criticism of the game against Holland at home. He was asked about it. He said, we didn't do badly the next game, did we, after losing in August? You'd lose a friendly to win a World Cup qualifier away 5-1. Sikora. This is locked at 1-1. We're into the last 5 minutes.
I think when as many changes take place during a match, certainly in the second half as they have done, the game does tend to lose a little bit. Thought for an hour, 70 minutes, this was a pretty good game. England take a lot from it, a lot of positives.
Private. And they might yet lose it because Hasselbank's around, but in the end, a player who, I'll tell you, he makes plenty of chances for others as well as scores plenty himself, was looking for a teammate then that he couldn't find. Heskey. Reception by Power. Heskey's going to go the full distance here. David Beckham as well. And Rio Ferdinand. The other England players are substitutes. One of whom is Joe Cole, of West Ham United. There again. Sikora rather scrambling it forward. Private getting an outlet here in Overmars. All the while Mackay is waiting to come on, and his chance to impress is getting less and less.
He went down there, he stood there in the 82nd minute. We're now approaching the 87th. 5 minutes have gone by.
So Mackay comes on for Overmars. Quick chance to remind you of the FA Cup action this coming weekend with us on Sky Sports 2, Sky Sports Extra. Walsall against Fulham at Saturday 11:30, and Sunday at 3 it's Chelsea against Preston, 5th round of the AXA sponsored FA Cup. But it's Cole. Nicky Butt played very well in the last friendly against Sweden at Old Trafford. Hasn't been in the Manchester United team recently. But Neville has, alongside David Beckham. Couldn't be found there by the captain. Here is Butt. Holland wants an offside, Reisiger in particular, and he gets it against Heskey.
Again, it's close, this. Very, very close. Reisiger comes out just as the ball's played. It's probably not offside.
Hasselbank. Now Boateng. Frank Lampard, who anticipated the direction of Power's pass. Now Butt, Joe Cole. David Beckham is down at the moment, but England go on with Cole and Heskey.
Oh, pity, unlucky.
Now Lampard. Butt taking over. Phillips. Heskey. Boateng. We're in the 90th minute in Amsterdam. Edwin van der Sar will be heading for the Bescot Stadium with Fulham at the weekend.
Just looking at 3 extra minutes to be added. Fourth official down there now indicating 3.
Ferdinand drops for Davids. Either side fashion winning goal in stoppage time. Davids. Now on the left, or Mackay on the right. Mackay he's looking for. Foot of Chris Powell to the rescue for England. Reisiger. He's played the 15 times for Holland. This is his 16th appearance. He's still looking for his first goal. Hasn't started too often. Here he comes, Roy Mackay, and he puts pressure on Powell again, and David James prevents the corner. Van Bronckhorst. Fortunately, it was flicked onto him by Hasselbank. Mackay had gone in behind. Now Phillips. Some final thoughts, Andy?
A pretty good night, I think. The England coach, I think he's had. His team have played really well with the ball. I think they've used it well. Popped it about. The pass has been much better than previous 2 or 3 internationals. They take a lot from that. They'd have wanted to have seen that tonight. And I think defensively, they've been sound. It's been a bit, what would I call it? It's been a bit of maturity to the performance, Mark. Certainly in the back and in midfield, obviously up front. It was experimental. Vassell's a plus, obviously. Very lively, very bright. So I think a good night, not too many minuses I can think of.
Oh, I wonder whether that would be a free kick in favour of Nicky Butt, but it's gone the other way. To grab Power first. Well, I think wrestling after that.
Free kick to England would have been the right decision there.
Reisiger. Three extra minutes almost up. Well, it's a draw that represents improvement for England, who were rather taken apart by the Dutch at Tottenham in August. An evening with some experimentation, and Darius Vassell will certainly have satisfied Sven-Göran Eriksson with a splendid equaliser, which was no more than England deserved. They were unfortunate to be behind at half-time. Kluivert's shot deflecting in off Sol Campbell. There are 4 more preparatory fixtures to come before the real thing, but World Cup year has got off to an encouraging start. The Dutch, remember, had plenty of incentive themselves tonight, but England really more than held their own, but the scoreline reflects only that. Holland won, England won.
Well played, very well played England, and particularly Darius Vassell. Plenty more football still to come tonight before we're finished around about 11:30. Next up, with highlights of the Republic of Ireland's game tonight against Russia, and before we go, we'll have Spain against Portugal.
Darius, what a week you've had. A call-up, your first cap and your first England goal.
Yeah, it's been a really big week for me. I don't know how to describe it. I'm over the moon. I just hope that I can keep my feet on the ground, go back to my club and keep on working hard, and hopefully I can get called up again.
What do you remember of the goal?
I just remember David crossing it in, and I think there was a player in front of me that was going to head it, but I just gambled, and it missed his head, and fortunately it hit me and went in. So.
When did you actually find out that you were actually going to be in the starting 11?
About 2 hours before kick-off, I think. We'd done a bit of work in training before the game, but no one really knew, but he told us 2 hours before the game.
Any nerves?
There was at the start, there was all the build-up, you get nerves and that, but as soon as I got out on the pitch, the lads were great to me and that, and it just all went away.
A run and shot very early on in the game, did that help settle you down?
Yeah, it did, to be quite honest. When you get these opportunities, you just got to try and do your best. I tried to get a couple of shots in or whatever, and luckily it worked out for me today.
Your first taste of senior international football, what was the big difference between that and club football, do you think?
Nothing apart from I was absolutely knackered after about 60 minutes, but it's all part of the progression. Hopefully I'll get fitter as I go on, and hopefully it'll stand me in good stead.
You certainly held your own out there, the team held their own. You deserved at least a draw, didn't you, today?
Yeah, I think so. I'd say we had more chances than them. We created a lot more opportunities. We matched them physically, and we could have won the game, I would have thought.
Are you thinking ahead now to making the squad? Is that what you really think you can do now?
I think it's always got to be at the back of your mind. You never know what might happen, but the important thing is to keep playing well for your club, keep your form up, and who knows what will happen.
Well, it's a little memento to remember your first England goal. Nationwide man of the match, well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, well done. The 176th England player to score on his debut. Sounds an awful lot, more so when I tell you only 4 have achieved that in the last 10 years. Vassell, Les Ferdinand, Rob Lee and Alan Shearer. But he did well, didn't he?
Oh, he was fantastic. He whipped it in with his left foot, and what a fantastic goal he scored. I'm pleased for him. He done very, very well. And
as Martin put it, a goal that had justice written all over it. England deserved that, didn't they?
No question, Richard. I thought they were by far the better side in the second half. David Beckham's passing in the second half was just awesome. He had a fantastic game. But I thought there were so many pluses to come out of that, and Darius obviously capped it with a fantastic goal.
And it's unusual that a game can maintain interest in that manner when there are so many changes. But it did. Would that be fair?
Without doubt. I think because of the debutants, everyone was interested to see how they would cope. In the second half, England, I thought, took the game to Holland a lot more than they did in the first half. They stretched them. They had a bit more width than we did in the first half, and that paid dividends in the end. And do you agree with Andy that that was England's best performance since Germany?
Yes, I would.
Don't forget, this was a very good Dutch team that we're in against tonight. But nowhere, Alan, for long periods, did we look second best?
Absolutely not, no. I thought we went in 1-0 down at half-time and didn't deserve that. They kept the heads held high and come out in the second half, and as I said, really took the game to the Dutch. And I think England might be a tad disappointed they haven't gone on to win it in the second half with the chances they had. We had a good Gareth Southgate header from another David Beckham great ball. Kevin Phillips had a header and 1 or 2 other half chances. And they've done a lot better, I thought, second half, and really took the game to them.
You didn't enjoy that, Ray, did you?
No, I didn't enjoy that. I don't like seeing England concede goals anyway, Richard, and I wasn't over pleased with it in the manner that we conceded that one. I thought Sol did his job. He tracked him back, Van Nistelrooy, but I just felt that Rio's defending there was poor.
How could that have been better?
Well, he's got to get a little bit closer to Kluivert for a start, but then when he makes his challenge, throw yourself at the ball. At the ball, don't turn your back on the ball.
from anywhere, put the ball on the floor around the goal, and David Beckham's going to cause a flutter or two. Debutants in, we've mentioned Vassell, Wayne Bridge, Alan at left back. How did he do?
Yeah, I thought he'd done well. It's always going to be difficult, Richard, coming in and playing against these world-class players as they were, and people expecting you to make the step up straight away. It's going to be very difficult, but he certainly didn't let anyone down. This for me was a fantastic ball, probably the ball of the match. Needed someone to get on the end of it. But yeah, they done well, and as I said, yeah, he would have been disappointed to have come off at half-time, but it's a massive step up, and people have to realise that. It's all right playing in the Premier League and doing very, very well, but you're coming up to another level, especially when you're playing against top quality sides.
Try and put that into context for those of us who have never played. Is that a little bit like someone like me trying to play professional football, going from the highest level to international football?
Well, I'm not so sure you'd be able to cope with professional football, Richard, but it's probably a bigger step than that, if I'm quite honest. But I have to say, I can't stress enough how big a step it is. From playing Premier League football is totally different going into an international football, and I'm sure the lads will tell you that tonight.
Number one, you're not playing with your mates, Richard. You're not playing with the people you work with day in, day out. So that all of a sudden is a massive hurdle. You've got the eyes of the country watching you, and you've got to produce. And it's not easy, because you are playing against, more often than not, world-class footballers right the way through the team. Very tough.
And putting that white jersey on, how does that make you feel?
Well, it means everything, doesn't it? Because that's, as a kid, that is you probably want to do two things. You want to be in an FA Cup final, and you want to wear the white jersey of England.
It's what you strive for, Richard, is to achieve, is get into the England side. Try and be in the 11 that represent your country. And it's a tough thing to do, but once you're there, it's a great feeling if you stay there, it really is.
Poor old Kevin Phillips just gets 45 here and there, doesn't he? He's in a squad and out, and it's just never dropped for him, Ray, has it?
It's so unfortunate. He takes up a great position there. It's a brilliant ball in there from Vassell on his left side. But as you quite rightly state, Richard, it just won't go in for Kevin. I thought some of his general play was excellent. I've got to say, he holds the ball up well. What a goal! Now that is a great goal, isn't it? I think, first and foremost, the two guys jumping in front of him, he must think someone's going to get a slight nick on it. I don't know, is he offside? I don't think so. We'll give the benefit.
We'll give that.
What a great ball, though, Ray.
Great ball.
David Beckham again. How many times do we see him do that?
Absolutely. You was talking about it, Alan, at half-time.
Yeah. I said it. I would like to see David Beckham perhaps out on the right a bit more, giving us a bit more width, because that's the type of balls he's capable of, and it really is a forward's dream when you see balls like that coming into the box.
And is that what sets the best apart? You know what they're going to do, but you can't stop it.
Absolutely, yeah. How many times have we seen David Beckham do that? No one seems to be able to stop him, do they? That's how good a player he is.
And that again is making that step up, Richard, when you're given...
For an hour or so. What did he give England, Alan?
I thought he was a threat, especially second half. They looked a lot easier, especially going forward as a team, England. And he was certainly a threat. He didn't stay in one position. He wasn't isolated on the left or the right, or even up the middle. He caused problems with his pace, I felt, all night. As I said, after the game, he cut in, he had shots. He crossed a great ball in for Kevin Phillips. And what a wonderful goal he scored, he really did. He certainly won't sleep for a couple of days, that's for sure.
Is his manager, Ray, pleased that he's getting recognition at this level? Or is he, like Sam Allardyce, just a touch concerned about the way in which international football might start to change a player?
He can, but he sounds a very level-headed guy. I thought he did ever so well along with Alan there. But it can be a little bit of a problem for managers, because they go away, they speak, and they obviously know what other people are doing and what the rewards they're getting, and it can be quite tough. But he sounds quite a level-headed guy.
He's thoroughly enjoyed his night, hasn't he?
And so he should, because he'll never have another night like that again. You can only have your debut once, obviously, and he